Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video I have two topics to cover with you guys, and those are contract level requirements and how they'll affect your loot, as well as whether or not it's worth it to open those pesky small chests in your contracts and grand heists. So this will be a little bit of a bite-sized video, not too much to cover here. I just want to get this information out because I've seen a bunch of people when they're playing, sacrificing some large chests or like going through like insane hoops to open all of the small chests if possible, stressing themselves out. And that's pretty crazy, right? That's pretty wacky that you do that, because in my opinion they're not that worth it. And on the other side of things, on the contract level requirement, what I'm talking about here is like, let's say you have a contract that requires level 5 engineering and one that requires level 1 engineering. Which one's better? And is it worth it to say, I'm only buying level 5 engineering? I'm sure we've already met some of those people, and maybe you're one of those people only buying level 5. Is it worth it to go down that path? Well, we'll get into both of those topics right now. So let's start off with the small chests. So small chests are present in both contracts and blueprints, and you can expect to get anywhere between like 6 all the way up to like 14 in contracts, depending on the size of the layout. And in blueprints, you can probably get about 4 times that amount, assuming you've unveiled all the wings and your blueprint has 4 wings. So very, very cool there. Now, there's going to be a lot of these things. The question is, are they worth opening? Now, I did a test on this to determine whether this is actually worth it. I won't pull this up here so you guys can keep watching, but essentially, the outcome here is that each of these chests is worth about 0.3 chaos. So that's not a lot. But, if you get 10 of these in your contract, you get an extra 3 chaos. If you're paying 1 chaos for the contract, that's 3 times your money. Now, it's really going to come down to what kind of a contract you're doing and how much spare alert you have. So I don't think it's ever worth sacrificing any of the big chests, with the exception of stuff like armor and jewelry. Of course, they're not very good, for these little chests. That's the point. If you have to worry about running alert reduction, sorry, not alert reduction. If you have to worry about the alert timer at the end, trying to rush with 20 seconds on the clock, to get to the end reward, and maybe you miss it. If there's any chance of that, don't open them, and just focus on the league specific. But if you can fit in 1 or 2 or 3, on the way out or the way there, and you've opened everything up and you're not going to fill up that alert bar or there's no pressure, definitely go for it. At 0.3 on average, you're going to get like an extra 1 or 2 chaos on average, which is pretty decent. Now in blueprints, generally the alert bar is pretty tight. With the exception of the new changes coming out, which are making blueprints way more overpowered, it's generally pretty tight, so I wouldn't recommend opening these small chests in blueprints for the most part. If you're just running blueprints, don't worry about it. You just focus on getting all of the biggest league reward chests that you can. That is going to be your priority. So we've determined in contracts, only open them if you have the spare alert bar or, you have the spare time, but it's not really that crazy. In traditional blueprints, we're not talking about split blueprints or fractured blueprints. Again, probably not worth opening them because you need that valuable alert bar for your bigger chests. So let's move on to door number 3. Let's talk fractured and split blueprints here. So these are a bit of a special case. When you fracture or split a blueprint, the actual small chest reward type is mapped. So what I mean by that is, let's say I have a blueprint. It has a small chest right at the door, and I split that blueprint, and I know that that small chest on my first run had currency. Every single time I split that blueprint again and again and again and again, it'll always have currency in that same location. Essentially, the small chests always have the same type of loot in them, so that's pretty cool. Essentially meaning that you can only target the currency ones, only target the stack deck ones, and you can make sure that you have a 100% hit rate, and it's not really going to impact your alert too much. Now again, of course, don't let this get in the way of you opening league-specific chests, as those are far more valuable, but that is a pretty cool tip there, isn't it? So small chests, in the end of the day, for the most part, not worth it unless you're doing fractured or split blueprints. So there you go. Don't worry too much about missing out on that loot, because there's not too much of it. Moving on, let's talk about the next topic here. We have the level requirement of contracts. So we'll jump in game for this one, because I think it's a pretty interesting one. And we'll take a look at some contracts here. So we have some contracts. Let's take a look at deception. So This one's level 4, you know, and we'll take a look at level 1 one. Alright, looks like we don't have any level 1 ones. We got level 5 one here. You know, let's go for... Okay, they're all level 4, not a problem. So let's just say that this is a level 1 one, and this is a level 5 one. People will only specifically say, I'm only buying 4+. Now, what is the impact of this? Are they right? Are they wrong? Well, let's get into the test I did. So you can see here that I ran 15 level 1 contracts. So that was like level 1 requirement and 15 level 5 requirement contracts. Now, all of these were done white at the same item level, same follower, same type. Everything is the same except for the level requirement. Now, that's going to have a big impact here. You can see here, on average, I just always got 3 chests from level 1 requirement contracts. And that's 3 league specific reward chests. So that's like 3 currency, you know, 3 armor, 3 whatever, which is very, very interesting indeed. Now, when you ratchet that up to level 5, I actually got on average 50% more chests. Now, this is actually a pretty massive deal when you're paying for example, for lockpicking 6 chaos per. So if you get 6 chaos per and he dumps a bunch of level 1 contracts on you when you're doing the trade, versus level 5, you're actually going to get 50% less loot out of those contracts, just straight up, because you got the lower level ones. Now, is this extremely impactful? In my opinion, if you're paying a large premium for the contracts you're running, you probably should pay attention to the level of the requirements. So it should be like level 5 lockpicking and stuff like that. So I do believe that these people are like they're pretty switched on. They know what they're talking about, and you should probably try and filter out what you're doing. Or if you're getting a mixed bulk deal, make sure you pay a little bit less because you're getting lower quality contracts. Now, if you're doing something like deception, where, you know, it's just 1 C a go, I wouldn't worry too much about filtering these out because the only real game that you're going to be getting here is a time efficiency one. It's true, though, that the level 5 ones are 50% more time efficient to run than the level 1 ones, so that's pretty important. And when you look at the contract weightings, you can see here that in order to get to these average estimated values, you did need to run 100 of them, and getting 4.5 versus 3 is actually a pretty big deal. So yeah, pretty interesting, and it's going to definitely affect how quickly you get up to that expected value cost. So that's going to be the video, guys. It's kind of short and sweet. You know, doing plenty more stuff on the stream, plenty more stuff on YouTube, but definitely stay tuned. And oh man, the next video is going to be on the absolutely insane heist buff that they've rolled out. Pretty crazy indeed. Okay, so that's all for this, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.